Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, we're chumming your brain with tales of great whites and bloody seas. Jersey Shore shark attacks and my foolproof plan to avoid becoming a snack are coming up in the Savage Sacktap Shark Week Part 2. And as usual, we included plenty of dick jokes.
You're listening to the Savage Sacktap. It's not a podcast, it's not a half-cast, it's just a quick shot to the balls to help you finish off the week. We're cutting through the bullshit, filling your Friday with rage-fueled logic, and cracking a few jokes along the way. So grab a bag of frozen peas. There's a Savage Sacktap coming your way.
Smooth, lascivious, salacious, outrageous.
Welcome back, guys. It's Shark Week Part 2. I am your host, Mike Montone. As usual, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSavageCrew, on Twitter at Mike Montone and at The Savage Crew, and on Instagram at Gary_Moyler. That's Moyler, Moyler. And now we're getting back into our bloody tale of shark-fueled horror at the Jersey Shore. If you missed Part 1, don't worry. We still got a whole handful of shark attacks left to talk about, but if you do want to go back, you can find Part 1 at www.thesavagecrew.libsyn.com or wherever you download our podcast on a regular basis. But now, here we go, back in to Part 2. For our next victim, we have to travel about 30 miles to the north to the town of Spring Lake, right in your neck of the woods, Belmar. And it's a couple days after the 4th of July. It's July 6th, and Charles Bruder, who works at the Essex and Sussex Hotel in Spring Lake, which is still there, by the way. It's a retirement community now. You're driving on Ocean Ave in Spring Lake, and you see the massive building with the big white columns in the front. That is the Essex and Sussex Hotel.
Okay.
And it is now a retirement community. I think it would be a fantastic, great place to retire to. You're a fucking mansion right on the ocean, anyway. Charles Bruder is, I guess he's the chief porter. He's like in charge of the staff, and they say he's a Swedish guy, buff dude. He decides to go. Charles Bruder decides to go for a little swim.
Another Charles. It seems as having the name Charles really puts you at risk.
Sort of the black spot. Is that the card that the pirates used to give out when they were going to kill you? They'd give you a card with like a black dot in it.
Oh, I don't know.
You know about the black spot?
No.
You don't really. Oh, you know what? Let's deviate. I'm going to teach you about the black spot for a second. Yeah, it's from the book Treasure Island, but it's been used in a bunch of other. The black spot is a literary device invented by Robert Louis Stevenson for his novel Treasure Island. In the book, pirates are presented with the black spot to officially pronounce a verdict of guilt or judgment. And they literally slap a... Sometimes if you see it, it's like on like a piece of paper or something. Other times it's like a handshake, and your hand gets this like unremovable black spot, but it essentially means you're guilty and marked for death.
Wow.
So the name Charles here, it seems, is kind of like the black spot.
Yes.
Now, Charles Bruder.
What if one had darker skin? How would they see this black spot? Was it always
like
a black spot?
So if you're a black guy, and how would you get the black spot?
Yeah.
I think back in pirate times, a lot of those guys were already clapped in irons and working for the man anyway. So.
I see.
Yes. So here we are. We're up in Spring Lake. To set the scene for you, Ocean Avenue, right? The coast road he refers to. The sun crossed the coast road that afternoon in a declining arc, laying planks of shade under the entrance of the Essex and Sussex. So, for those who are unaware, Ocean Avenue in this part of the shore is just a long road that runs right along the beach, and across the beach from it are a bunch of just beautiful big mansions and hotels with these nice shining green lawns and everything like that. So we go into the lobby, and strolling through the lobby with the swagger of an athlete was a young man, blonde and muscular and 28 years old, striking beyond the sameness of his hotel uniform. Charles Bruder, the bell captain, former soldier in the Swiss Army, ran his staff with crisp precision. There you go. So he's like, he's the manager. He's the day manager at the hotel.
Okay.
It's a hot day, July 6th. Remember we said everyone's flocking to the shore because it's just a fucking steamer, kind of like we're having right now. Wish we were at the beach instead of locked in a fucking sweaty apartment in Jersey City. Fuck us. He heads to the ocean and he convinces Henry Nolan, one of his staff members, and they get some of the other guys to take a swim. He's going to take his guys out for a little 15-minute break for a swim. And Bruder, again, remember I was saying, like, it was just everyone wanted to be so manly back then. Like, no one was a pussy. Mm-hmm. Except for those guys who watched our last guy get ripped apart by sharks. Yeah, they're kind of pussies, but this was a time of very just fucking, like, tough, swagger-filled, manly dudes. Bruder, the bellhops were somewhat in awe of his long-distance swims. Bruder had wowed his charges with stories of his adventures swimming the previous summer in the Pacific Ocean. With his natural ability and competitive instincts, there was no telling how far their boss could swim. The bell captain swam every day now in the Atlantic with his co-workers, but on July 6th, he was especially eager for witnesses. 2 other men had stolen his glory that same afternoon. These guys were alpha as fuck. Just dripping with testosterone, big meaty dicks sprouting forth from their huge pubic bushes. 2 other men stole his glory. Robert Downing and Leonard Hill were the talk of the hotel after their marathon swims, and Bruder was eager to reclaim his place as the beach's star. He also was eager to back up his boasts that he had swum many times with large sharks off the coast of California and was unafraid of them. That morning, the bellhops had been discussing the death of Charles Van Sant. Uh-oh. It was recently reported in the Asbury Park Press. Newspaper.
Would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
Just look at it.
That newspaper's been around for a while. For my cross-country listeners, the Asbury Park Press, around in 1916, still very much around reporting the news of the day today in, as I said, Asbury Park, where urban liberals and moneyed young homosexuals come to escape the city in the summer months. Also where Bruce Springsteen kind of made his bones, probably where you'd hear about it. The album Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey. He used to play the Stone Pony. Or, as I call it, if you're fucking a girl and you're listening to Born to Run, you're taking her for a ride on the Bone Pony. Dun, 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 dee, dee. Tramps like us, baby, we were born to fuck. Anyway.
Remix?
It's the sex remix. I was down at the Jersey Shore. Where the fuck was I? Oh yeah, alright, so they're talking about it in the Asbury Park Press. After Van Sant's grisly death, there was talk about whether it was wise to swim in the ocean. Bruder, with characteristic cockiness, mocked the newspaper accounts and insisted that Van Sant could not have been killed by a shark. According to Bruder, sharks were large and scary looking, but entirely harmless. Well, he is about to find out that his thesis is incorrect. So, again, so it's late afternoon. Again, same time Van Sant went swimming, which, as we said, you start getting towards that dusky time of day, right? Around when we're usually going to DJ's happy hour. That is one of the most that begins one of the biggest feeding windows for sharks. And I'm not sure why. I just remember reading years and years about sharks. It's always I'd have to look up why. I'm not sure if it has to do with the tides or where the fish are, but that's like when sharks typically like to feed.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yes, they should have a nice margarita with their meal. You'd think they're getting apps, and you want a little marg, chips and salsa, a little. What do you think? What do you think sharks would prefer? Do you think they would prefer the frozen or on the rocks?
I'd think probably on the rocks, because frozen they eat so fast they might get a brain freeze.
They're going to want to wash it down, and probably kind of hard for a shark to use a straw. Mm-hmm. I don't think they have lips to suck with.
Yeah, straws might be hard.
Which would also make them terrible homosexuals.
Yes.
Yeah. This great white sucked me off the other day, and I don't know, it was just so toothy. I don't date sharks anymore. They give terrible head. Anyway.
Those people wouldn't have a dick left.
That's
Right.
true. You'd have to
They'd have no reason to live after that.
yeah. You'd have to get filleted by a very old shark, so it was just a gum job.
Yeah.
And then maybe it'd be kind of sexy. Just be face fucking a shark. Yeah. Yeah. They say you guys will eat anything. They said they found license plates and fucking and garbage and toys in your stomach. Well, now they're gonna find a whole load of fucking semen. Oh God, yeah. Swallow it, baby.
Ooh.
They say that. They say sharks will eat anything. They say they cut them open and they find like license plates and shit like that. So you figure if they'll eat a license plate, they'll swallow a whole gush load of cum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
So Bruder leads this guy Nolan and the rest of the bellhops. They're in their standard black two-piece bathing costumes. I like how they call them bathing costumes. That's such a 1916 word for bathing. In their bathing costumes, and the men hurried to the beach. Into the surf in their bathing costumes. While crowds had left the water to rest for the evening, dozens of people remained on the sands, and the Swiss bell captain, approaching the edge of the sea at the south end bathing pavilion, drew attention. Bruder's reputation was established. He put on a good show in the water. For those of you wondering why I'm giggling, we have a Keith Hernandez bobblehead that has been decapitated, and my guest here is eerily, weirdly nodding Keith Hernandez's severed head in my direction while I try to tell this story. She has put it into the... I have the jaws, the preserved jaws of a lemon shark out here. You can see them actually on our Instagram and Facebook pages, and she is making the fucking lemon shark eat Keith Hernandez's head. Which I'm sure he feels absolutely... Keith Hernandez! Newman would be thrilled to find out that Keith's head got eaten by a lemon shark. You should we should take a picture of that later and tweet it at Wayne Knight.
Yes.
And let him know that we finally helped him get Hernandez. So, Bruder and the boys are heading into the ocean. Bruder was one of the first swimmers in the water. With a slow, powerful crawl, Charles Bruder swam straight out from shore. Remember, those other two guys set like a fucking distance swimming record earlier in the day, and Bruder was kind of out for revenge. He wants to make, because people were like, well, this Bruder guy swims out pretty far too, but not as far as these other guys, so Bruder must be a pussy. Mm-hmm. Bruder wants to prove the naysayers wrong. With a slow, powerful crawl, Charles Bruder swam straight out from shore. Bruder dipped his head under the safety ropes and kept swimming. So he's getting out there now, because the safety ropes, if you're usually a good 30 yards out. Mm-hmm. So he's going. Anyone else would have been called back. Like, the fucking dick. That's what I hate about the beach. Like, I'm not one to go for long distance swims, but I don't need a fucking teenager with a whistle telling me where I can and can't swim.
Well, if they have that whistle, they
are imbued with a certain authority.
Yes.
I feel that they abuse it.
Well, it takes a lot to get that whistle.
Just because you have abs, a nose covered in zinc, and a great pair of red shorts doesn't mean you can tell me what to do in the ocean, motherfucker.
Well, to get that whistle, they need to swim like a ridiculous amount of distance.
I know. But I'm just saying, I don't need some fucking teenager on his summer vacation telling me what to do. And apparently neither does Charles Bruder.
Yes, he should have listened.
He should have.
Should have listened to the team.
But Bruder was a strong swimmer and often swam beyond the lifelines. With surprising speed, Bruder was soon 1,000 feet from shore.
Woof.
That's 1,000 feet is almost a fifth of a mile. At 1,000 feet, he was still going as if racing a clock. Soon Bruder was a diminishing figure on the eastern horizon, his arms slicing through the waves. The waves swelled past Bruder in a comforting rhythm as he stroked evenly toward the horizon. It was the kind of day that recalled the majesty of California, and Charles Bruder kept swimming farther and farther out. Through the murk of the darkening sea, the great white sped, trailing sonic waves until it was close enough, within 15 feet, to see plainly with its small, emotionless black eyes the source of its sounds. Bruder, unaware he was no longer alone as he swam, was 1,200 feet from shore.
He's
the
fucked.
water. He is indeed. What was that you said?
He's fucked.
Yes, he is indeed fucked. No more than a dozen feet away, the shark's brain processed the flickering lights as the movement of a fish. They like that bright, reflective. You know when you go in with that yellow one that you wear?
Yeah.
Bait, baby.
I'm tossing that.
Like a salad. It has to be tossed.
Yes.
This is what your parents always dreamed of, that you would meet a man who would put you in front of a microphone and make jokes about eating ass. Mm-hmm. Congrats, Mom and Dad. Your daughter's done good.
Oh.
Moving closer beneath its prey, the shark had seen its quarry. This guy's really getting up there with the $50 words, huh, pal? Mm-hmm. Had seen its quarry in full silhouette, etched by sunlight, outlined in a glimpse that triggered both excitement and wariness, as not a school of fish, but a mammal. Charles Bruder swam as if he were alone in the sea, as if he were invincible. Hubris is going to be his downfall, as with Mr. Van Sant before. There are all these wannabe Ehrlich Hochmeilers, or whatever that fucking guy's name was. Heimelhaker, Ehrlich. What was the guy's last name? Ehrlich something.
I can't remember.
Oh well, Ehrlich.
Ehrlich. With an O.
With an O. Bruder never saw it coming. The great white surprise attack was launched with overpowering force from behind. Such drama eludes other man-eaters. Have you ever seen what it looks like when a great white kills something?
No.
It is amazing. You want to see a great white breach? Real quick.
Of course.
This is when the video gets... It's just raw fucking power. Watch this shit.
It was so powerful, it didn't even get it in his mouth.
Went
flying. Oh my god!
That's what it's like to get eaten by a great white. What that is a the Discovery. I guess they sent these guys out and they trailed that thing to look like a seal behind the boat, so they could capture the actual breach. How fucking badass was that, though?
I've never seen like the jump out of the water so high.
That's so fucking.
That's
cool.
what a breach is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see if we get one more here. Oh, that's... Ooh! You know what? Someone should do a video of these set to the NFL Films music. Like, you know...
Maybe you could do that.
I should.
Yes.
I need some shark footage. Anyway, that's what breaching looks like. If you're listening and you check out our Facebook page, the banner is actually a picture of a great white breaching the water. So, where are we? Now we're back to Bruder is way out. He's, what did we say, 1,200 feet from shore. As the shark moved, its dark top reflected virtually no light. The denticles on its skin muted the whoosh of its movements as the shark rose, driven by the power of the great tail sweeping from side to side like a scythe. The fish exploded upward. So this is a human swimming, and when we just saw with that fucking seal raft, where it just jacks it way like 15 feet out of the fucking water, that happened to a person. Charles Bruder felt a slight vacuum tug in the motion of the sea, noted it as a passing current, the pull of a wave, the tickle of the undertow. He could not have heard the faint sucking rush of water not far beneath him. He couldn't have seen or heard what was hurtling from the murk at astonishing speed, jaws unhinging, widening for the enormous first bite. It was the classic attack that no other creature in nature could make, a bomb from the depths. How great of a way is that to describe what we just watched on video? and it detaches its jaw. Like, have you ever seen the way a snake swallows like a big piece of prey?
Yeah.
When it has to detach its jaw to fit in its mouth. That's what the shark is doing, but instead of a snake doing it like slowly and like sucking it down, the shark is killing through pure violence. Just the knives that we use steak, the serrated, imagine a mouthful of miniature those coming at you at fucking probably car speed, right? Like 30, 40 miles per hour in the open ocean, and it's the size of like a fucking Volvo, and it just...
Yikes.
Not how you want to go?
I don't want to imagine that.
History did not record Charles Bruder's thoughts or feelings as he experienced a surprise great white attack. Instead, the sea told his story. I have a feeling his feelings were probably along the lines of your, I don't want to experience that. So here we are. Remember, people back then, the thing to do around 12, because on a hot summer day, they didn't have central air conditioning or anything like that. So you would hit the veranda, the boardwalk. You know what the boardwalk in Spring Lake and Belmar looks like. It's just that little plank right up on the beach. I think it's kind of always been like that. So this Bruder guy was known for going on these swims, and people used to kind of, if you weren't the kind to go in the ocean, because there were still some very conservative people who didn't like to disrobe in front of a whole crowd, so their way of cooling down was to take sort of these strolls at the bookends of the day when it wasn't super hot out. So there are a lot of people up there watching this go down. They say, guests on the beach in front of the Essex and Sussex suddenly saw a massive spray of water rising out of the ocean a quarter-mile out. As the plunging wall of water descended, a woman on the beach cried out, "The man in the red canoe is upset." Which, do you know that the man in the red canoe is actually a euphemism for the clitoris?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
So this woman had no idea that while this guy was getting devoured by a shark, people thought she was just yelling about her clit. "The man in the red canoe is upset." Well, put some ointment on it, lady. The surfmen, White and Anderson, shoved their small rescue rowboat into the water and began to row frantically east, while panic shouts rang from the boardwalk and the beach. As White and Anderson pulled closer, they saw that the red canoe was blood, spreading now in a wide circle. Rushing towards the red stain, eyes straining the surface of the water for Bruder, they were suddenly greeted by the unimaginable sight of the bell captain, or what was left of him, pinwheeling above the surface of the sea with incredible force. You've seen Jaws, right?
Yes.
You know when the chick is night swimming in the beginning, the first person to get killed by Jaws, and she's like there, and then it's like she's going around and around. That's what these guys come up on in the rowboat, but it's
Oh my God.
It's still daylight hours, so it's just a sea full of blood. As the surfmen drew close, the huge fish struck Bruder again and again, swimming away and darting forward like an airplane attacking a zeppelin. The shark made another lunge, cutting a deep gash in Bruder's abdomen. Finally, Bruder was pulled completely under. As White and Anderson's rescue boat entered the sea of blood, the bell captain somehow managed to lift his head above water once more and to gasp, "A shark bit me." This was the motherfucker who was so cocky, so overconfident that the shark couldn't get him. Like him and Herman Ehrlichs, I think that was Ehrlich's name. Was,
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
I don't hear a lot of badass Hermans anymore. I feel like these days Herman's kind of a guy who gets his ass kicked. I think Herman Munster kind of brought it all downhill. At least he can finally admit it, though. Sharks win. The surfman lowered an oar, and Bruder, with tremendous effort, lifted himself onto the gunnels, then collapsed, clinging lifelessly to the side of the boat, sliding slowly back towards the ocean. And remember in Shark, this is kind of how Quint dies in Jaws at the end. You know, the old fisherman guy? When the boat's kind of going under, and the shark's pulling him, but he's fighting. That's kind of cool, like you see where a lot of this is inspired from. The surfmen, their strength fueled by urgency, were surprised by how easy it was to lift the husky bell captain to safety. Laying him carefully on the bottom of the boat, the reason was immediately evident. There was little of Bruder left to lift.
Oh.
In a glance, White and Anderson noted the loss of both of his feet. The surfmen were covered with blood. While one surfman pulled the oars of the boat, the other tried desperately to stop the bleeding from both Bruder's legs by ripping off his shirt to cobble together makeshift tourniquets.
That'll help.
Yeah, that's gonna get it done. Blood continued to pump copiously, soaking the boat. There was little time, but Bruder was still conscious.
Oh my God, I just want to be dead already.
Just let me go, man.
God.
Let me go.
So his feet are gone. What do we know what is left?
Probably just mostly upper body, I would think, at this time. According to the New York Herald, Bruder described the attack to the surfman in the boat. Listen to the way he talks about it. Almost casual in his tone here. He was a big gray fellow and rough as sandpaper. I didn't see him until after he struck me for the first time. He cut me here in the side, and his belly was so rough it bruised my face and arms. That was when I yelled the first time. I thought he had gone on, but he only turned and shot back at me, and snipped my left leg off. He yanked me clear under before he let go. He came back at me again, and he shook me like a terrier shakes a rat. But he let go while I was calling, and then suddenly took off the other leg. He's a big fellow, powerful and hungry. Perhaps the story was embellished by the Herald, but whatever Bruder said, White and Anderson listened wide-eyed as they rowed their wounded friend to shore, trying to hurry, yet make him as comfortable as possible. As the lifeboat surged through the waves, Charles Bruder lost his eyes and lost consciousness. Oh my. Imagine, though, the badassery of man that we're dealing with here. And this is something I talk about a lot in the show, about how men aren't men anymore. Like, we've kind of lost our balls a little bit. This guy has just essentially been ripped in half by a shark. And he's in a rowboat with guys who are trying to get to shore. Manpower is trying to get him to shore to be saved. He's bleeding out. Half his fucking body is missing. And he's giving a vivid description.
I'm impressed by the vivid, like description he gave.
So cool. Like, a person today would be, like, screaming and fucking, like such a bitch, a pussy. And this guy's just like, yeah. Big gray fella.
Fella.
Yeah, he's calling him a fellow. His just relaxed approach to this life-ending situation is still enough to refer to the shark as like almost like he lost a bar fight to some guy and everything is going to be fine in the morning with a bit of a hangover. Mm-hmm. Oh my.
He wanted his chapter in the book to be good.
He has made he knew, or at least he thought, when he went in the water that morning, these other guys just made history today, but I am going to make history. And he actually wound up taking a bigger bite out of history, so to speak, than the other two gentlemen did. So.
All right.
That one happened in Spring Lake. Now, I said before, our final one occurs in a town called Matawan, which is about 20 miles to the north, and is actually inland a little bit, right? It sits on a creek. If you go right up where the coast, if you're looking at a map of New Jersey, look at New York City and look straight down. There's no map here. Look at New York City and go straight down. What you will see is the coast kind of hooks upward, and there's a big bay. There's like the Newark Bay and everything. And hooking upwards, and it is literally called Sandy Hook because it is a hook of just a thin hook of land that extends up from the Jersey Shore. It's a thin hook of land that extends upward from the Jersey Shore. Just south of where that hook culminates, if you go down where the thin strip of the sandbar meets the rest of the state and go due west is around where you meet Matawan. This is for anyone from outside the country if you want to look at a map of New Jersey and see where we are. So you can see we've traveled through these attacks a good 100 miles north, and now we're going inland a little bit, and this is not somewhere where you would find shark-infested waters, right? A creek in Matawan, it's brackish water, it's not salty. This is why there were originally thoughts that this was a great white, but there's some have suggested that it was a bull shark that was doing this, because a bull shark is what you would... They've found bull sharks like way up in the Mississippi River too. Like they're known to travel miles inland. So that's where the theory that it was a bull shark comes from. The people of Mattawan not expecting a shark attack to happen in their creek.
Once you go human, you never go back.
That rhymes perfectly.
I couldn't think of something
We are
to rhyme.
Apparently, we're delicious.
Yeah.
The people of Mattawan did not see this coming, but it was. Here we go. They do get a warning ahead of time that everybody ignores.
Oh.
Yes. We're in Mattawan, New Jersey, 1916. The light that speckled through the trees afforded privacy as the naked boys splashed... Wait a minute, I remember this... It's like softcore gay erotic.
Why are they naked?
Because they didn't have bathing suits.
They go from, like, full-body suits to naked?
Well, these are little kids playing in a creek, so, they're out... Imagine... The bathing suits are for, bathers on the beach. These are kids on, their summer vacation... Taking like a break from work at the factory or whatever,
okay.
And they're just running down to the creek. They're gonna dive in. They're in a hot factory all day. They're just gonna dive in and get kind of wet.
Okay.
Cooling off. This is what kids used to, before they had the Snapchat and the Pokemon Go. This is what they used to do. The noise of their play obscured the wailing pitch of a scream, a sound absorbed by the Spartina grass on the opposite bank. Moments after Rensselaer Carton entered the water of Mattawan Creek, it betrayed him. He was in almost up to his neck, and the pleasing sensation of a refreshing dip gave way to a searing warmth ripping across his chest. It was a strange sensation that 14 years of experience couldn't process. He was bleeding, and he didn't know what was in the water, what was tearing him, and in an instant the knowledge of what was happening turned into a long, high scream. With a rush unseen in the murky water, the shark came, like a torpedo, and hurtled past Cartan. The splashing in the swimming hole, barely a mile from the mouth of the creek, had drawn the great white to investigate. When the shark spied the whirling porcelain limbs of the boy under water, it grew excited and charged. Rennie Cartan had no idea he had been bumped and scraped by a great white shark. He knew only that it didn't hurt at first, then the pain was like hot needles. So imagine you've got a few tattoos, right?
Yeah.
You know what that feels like? Needles going in and out imagine that just cutting across your chest. Because they say a shark's skin is like sandpaper. Mm-hmm. And you can rub it one way and feel nothing, but if you rub it the other way, it'll actually leave you pretty cut up. So almost like if you were to be tied behind a vehicle with your chest down to cement. Oh. That's probably what this felt like.
Oh.
In that instant, he saw something dark moving in the water, something larger than any fish he had ever seen, and then it was gone. Cartan scrambled out of the creek screaming. His chest was bloody as if raked by the tips of knives. The other boys, streaked with mud, crowded around him, trying to calm him. Cartan would not be calmed. He said he had been hit and wounded by something in the creek, something huge. His friends listened as long as boys do when play has been interrupted and awaits and is calling them back. Soon Rennie's cousin Johnson and the other boys scurried onto the dock and leapt back into the creek.
So their friend comes out bloody.
Yes.
And very badly cut, and they
freaking the fuck out, and they're just like, let's go back in.
Okay. Seems like a good idea.
Yeah, what's the path of logic that, okay, our friend was just in the water. He comes out with a massive cut across his chest, bleeding and freaking the fuck out about whatever gave it to him, and your inclination is, all right, dude, shut the fuck up. We want to go back in. It's almost like you deserve to become a snack. Isn't it?
Yeah, that is quite silly.
Fucking idiots. Is that the sound of a shark chomping?
Mm-hmm.
It's far less vicious than I imagined it.
No, that is like the shark licking its chops because it
Oh, he's getting hungry.
Yeah.
He's got a late reservation, and it's 5 o'clock, and he's like, fuck, I wish I'd eaten something.
Mm-hmm.
So now this So we kind of pause that piece of the story for a second, and they go to this captain, Thomas Cottrell, who's sort of like the wise old seaman of the town of Matawan. And he's out in his boat. And they say, rippling up the muddy waters of the creek towards the bridge was a large... Oh, I guess he's walking over a bridge over the creek. Mm-hmm. Rippling up the muddy waters of the creek towards the bridge was a large, dark gray shape trailing a long, pointed dorsal fin. In the moment it took for shock and disbelief to subside, Captain Cottrell recognized it as a shark. And this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. He says, a big one, no different from the many he'd spied in the Pacific and Atlantic and Indian Oceans, winding slowly up the tidal creek past fields of oat and barley, chickens and dairy cows. As the shark swam closer to him, it loomed bigger still, a wide, gray-brown fish, possibly 9 or 10 feet long. 9 or 10 feet long is longer than the room we're in right now. We are in an admittedly tiny room, but still, this is, I would say, this room is probably... This is probably an 8 foot wide room. So tack another 2 feet onto this room, and you have the shark.
So his head's gonna be over there.
Head's over here by the pull-up bar. It's the end of its tail fin is out into the living room.
Wow.
Big. Until it passed directly under Cottrell and slipped under the bridge. He turned to watch the fin disappearing up the creek. Thomas Cottrell realized with an incredulous shudder that the shark was heading unswervingly towards town. This is like some shit out of almost like a fucking... Like, you couldn't write this. Like the old sea captain seeing the murderous shark swimming up the... Like, you're almost like these old-timey motherfuckers made up this story to trick us. Mm-hmm. Into believing that this is the plot of a movie. A shark has been slaughtering people up and down the coast, and now it decides to go inland and munch on some kids who are swimming on their break from work. You cannot make this up. And so, Captain Cottrell, pumping new life into his aging seaman's legs, turned around on the bridge and raced towards town, breathing hard and walking fast, hoping to reach town before
Wait. He was walking? Shouldn't he be running?
He raced towards town.
It said
breathing hard and walking. Well, he's old.
Well, I think he should be
but
running.
he might not. I mean, there's like a fucking geriatric. Maybe he can't run.
All right. Well, maybe they should put a younger person up there with him.
Like you're saying, he should have been walking around with a younger person, crossing this bridge in anticipation of seeing a shark and having to alert the townspeople?
Yeah.
This is why we're never going to have a woman in the Oval Office.
What is the problem with this younger person?
Why would the younger person... They didn't know they were going to see a shark that day.
Well, I don't know.
So now, every time an old guy goes for a walk in Matawan, he needs to be escorted by like a 19-year-old.
But he was a seaman. Wasn't he there to look for sharks?
No, he was just walking around. He's out for a walk.
Oh, all right.
He just happened to be crossing the creek on the bridge at the time, and he sees the shark.
Oh, okay. I thought he was there for a purpose of...
No, he's just out for a walk.
I thought, like, you know, the people that, like, on the Titanic, they're looking for icebergs.
No, this was not... He was not doing this in any professional capacity.
All right. Okay, then I take that.
He's just out for a walk.
All right. Whoops.
So he runs into town and he alerts the constable. Constable John Molsoff. The stout constable turned his competent, compassionate eye towards Cottrell. Yet the old sea captain's story about a shark from the ocean headed up the creek towards town sounded mad. That is so out of him. Like, the guy comes running in to warn everyone, almost like Independence Day when he's like, yo, I swear to God, I saw some... they captured me. I saw the fucking aliens. They're like, all right, you fucking old booze bag, shut the fuck up. This is basically the crazy guy from Independence Day. Molsoff considered it for a moment, tipped back his head and laughed incredulously. Disbelieving chuckles rounded the barber shop. Flushed with anger and embarrassment. Yeah, they just told him to fuck off. Like, all right, dumbass, there wasn't a shark in the creek. Cottrell stumbled out of the shop and took his story urgently to the sidewalk, where a cluster of merchants met him with more skepticism and puzzled looks. A shark in the creek? Old Cottrell must have been in one too many nor'easters. With growing frustration, the sea captain pressed his case up and down Main Street to men who'd known him for years and admired his sea stories. But everywhere the captain was laughed at, the failing New York Times reported. So imagine, think of Washington Street in Hoboken, or Main Street, but you're just banging on fucking doors like, yo, there's a shark. We got to get everyone. There's the shark that's been fucking these people up. He's coming for us next. And everyone's like, yeah, fuck you, dude. Shut up.
Wow.
No one believed him. But Cottrell he's convinced Thomas Cottrell had not survived 40 years at sea by distrusting his own instinct. Ignoring his ragged breath, his quickening heart, he hurried down to the docks by the creek and climbed into his small motorboat, the Scud. The Scud. Sounds like a boat named after a guy with a big dick. The Scud. Coaxing the motorboat to a hiccuping start, he gave it some gas. He was soon chugging up the creek, cruising the center channel on the water, where he'd felt in command all his life, but perhaps never so out of control as now. Shielding the sun with his hand, he scanned the narrowing distance for a fin and the boyish heads of swimmers. As he motored, he shouted warnings of shark, shouted over the creek until he was hoarse. It was hot and humid, and his collar was beading up in sweat. Soon there was only the sound of the old man's ragged breathing under the rumble of the engine, loud and trembling in the midday air. So it's about to go down. Our final couple of shark kills. I just want to take a quick sip here. Dude, my body is all I've drank today is fucking booze and coffee, so my body's like on fire and my piss smells pungent. Anyway, so like I said, these kids would go in the water. This is like their fun. They go for a fucking swim. Mm-hmm. Shortly before 2 o'clock, Lester Stillwell, who wore knickers and suspenders to school and a cap over his Dutch boy, was running free on Main Street. Lester was one of the youngest and poorest boys who played in the creek, but soon all confinements and distinctions would disappear. They all just swam naked together.
Yep.
Class went away. The 6 boys went down to the main dock road, cutting behind the barn to the creek. Some 2 hours earlier, unknown to the boys, Captain Cottrell had sailed through Matawan warning of the shark he had seen. A few swimmers had been warned away, but that had been during the noon hour, when most people along the creek were at lunch, and Captain Cottrell did not spread the alarm far enough. Convinced Matawan was safe, Cottrell had motored down the creek to warn others. Alright, so the kids are in the creek. O'Hara was about to climb out of the water when Lester Stillwell cried, "Watch me float, fellas!" Lester gingerly laid his body on the surface of the creek and achieved the small miracle of floating. A proud moment for him, for the boy was so weak that he usually had trouble staying afloat. In the next instant, Charlie Van Brunt saw what he called the biggest, blackest fish he had ever seen, streaking underwater for Lester. Lester screamed, and Charlie saw the shark strike, twisting and rolling as it hit Lester, exhibiting its stark white belly and gleaming teeth. To Johnson Curran, the sight was something he found words for only later. Something huge, something that looked like an old black weather-beaten board, rose up. Maybe, do you think people were just racist back then because sharks were black and they were just going around picking people off? Maybe that's where racism came from.
The sharks?
Yeah.
It's a new theory.
That's all, like, the first time they saw black skin, it was on a shark eating someone, and they were like, well, anything with that must be bad. Look how far we've come. I love sharks, though. I don't want them to be blamed for racism.
I don't think anyone blames them.
For racism?
No.
Okay.
I think we're okay.
You don't think sharks are getting blamed for racism? You don't think there are any sharks in the KKK? You think there are sharks out there who spell shark with 3 Ks at the end?
Oh, shark.
As the boys looked on in horror, they saw Lester's arm in the mouth of a shark, and Lester being shaken like a cat shakes a mouse. And then he went under, head first. So Lester and the shark disappear under the water. And as the shark The shark jerked the boy underwater. You get in a bit of trouble for jerking a boy underwater these days, yeah.
And his clothes were already off.
A grown shark jerking a naked boy underwater. Maybe he's not in the KKK. Maybe he's just a member of the Catholic Church.
Oh, God.
He's a member of the clergy. He was out. When they say the shark was cruising the creek, they didn't mean in search of a snack. Lester shaken like a cat shakes a mouse. Again, think of just eating that drumstick chicken wing. As the shark jerked the boy underwater, it gave such a mighty swish through the water that its tail hit Albert O'Hara and knocked him against the piling supporting the pier. Too shocked to feel the painful scrape, O'Hara stared at the reddening circle on the creek and cried, "Oh, Lester's gone!" For a horrific second, Lester Stillwell reappeared, rising out of the water, screaming and waving his arms wildly. Then, in an instant, he was pulled back under and disappeared for good.
So we just ate him whole?
Chomped his ass up.
Wow.
But, help might be on the way. Small waves had upset the waters of the creek, but they were smoothing and the water was crimson where Lester had been. Suddenly the boys cried, "Oh my God, he's gone," and swam and stumbled and scrambled out of the water and up on the muddy banks, crying, "Shark! Shark!" Rushing in a group past their heaped clothes, the 5 boys ran naked down Dock Road and turned right on Main. Can you imagine? You're hanging out Main Street in Belmar. Maybe you're walking out of Surf Taco, and all of a sudden you see like a bunch of ass-naked, mud-covered 10-year-olds running down the street screaming about a shark. Frank Close was leading them, for he was the oldest, but they were all running dripping wet and wild-eyed into the heart of town, shouting that a shark had taken Lester Stillwell. In other words, they need an adult. Here we go.
And some clothes.
Probably. I guess, although they're mud-caked, so maybe you think they were running out, and the ones with the big penises were like, "Yeah, we'll go naked," and just flopping dongs all over, and then like the others with like the tinier, because at least one of them probably had like a fucking pinky-sized pecker, and they were just scooping mud up like, "Yeah, well, in a second, can we stop to put clothes on? No, oh, hold on," and they just slapping like a pile of leaves and muds over their dicks, like, "Yeah, I don't know, we're just covered in mud. It's no big deal." Makes it look a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. Maybe they put they grab like a piece of driftwood and put it there. Yeah, that's me. All me, baby.
I'm sure that's what they were concerned about.
Let me tell you something. Anytime a man is going to be publicly nude, he cares about what other people think of his dick. I don't care if you're running out of the creek to save your friend from getting devoured by a man-eating shark. You are concerned, because remember, it's summer vacation. They're gonna be chicks walking up and down the street. They're gonna see you running, and they're gonna know now for the rest of their lives. They're gonna know which member of your friends group has the nicest dick.
What if I'm the one in the ocean with the shark? Are you still pampering yourself before you run through town?
Pampering? Well, yeah. Then I have even more impetus to do so, because if you get eaten, I have to find a new chick that's going to be interested in my dick. So I want to make sure I'm putting on a good show, as they say.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I see how it is.
Yeah. Abruptly, with a panic that would be remembered for years, Charlie Van Brunt, Johnson. These kids had great names, by the way.
Yeah, and the one kid's name is Johnson.
Johnson. Do you think he was the one with the biggest dick?
Probably. Leading the pack.
They see him running naked. Who is that? Oh, that must be old Johnson Cartan. Frank Close and Albert O'Hara and Anthony Bublin came running down Main Street, naked and smeared with mud and grass, and shouting wildly about a shark and Lester Stillwell. At no time in recent years has there been so much continued excitement hereabout as on Wednesday. I love how the Keyport Weekly would report. I love how they spoke back then. So much continued excitement hereabouts. Now it would just be like, OMG, WTF. Gotta see these kids running down the street yelling about a shark. Like that's what it would say these days, because our society is terrible. The children hollered, "A shark! A shark got Lester!" to anyone who would listen. A crowd surrounded the boys, trying to con them. Constable Mulsoff, hurrying to the commotion from the barber shop, had a crisis on his hands. Remember, Mulsoff is the fucking guy before when the captain warned everyone that was like, "All right, bro, get the fuck out of here. There's no shark." The constable rounded up a group of men and marched them toward the creek to rescue the boy, or more likely to recover his drowned body. Poor Lester Stillwell must have suffered one of his epileptic fits, the constable feared. I kind of butchered that sentence, but apparently Lester suffers from epilepsy, and they thought he was just having a bit of a seizure. And the kids are like, "No, shithead, it was a shark attack." Upset that no one believed their story of a shark, the boys continued on down Main to the door of Royal Tailors, where Stanley Fisher was sewing a custom suit. They knew he was a powerful swimmer and a friend of all the boys in town. Oh, he was molesting them. They felt they could confide in him. Anyway, Fisher decided to assume command of the crisis. Putting his sewing off for later, promptly told his assistant to take the day off and close the shop, but not before he slipped into the back room and put on a bathing costume. And I'll bet dollars to donuts he invited the boys in to watch. So, they're heading down with Stanley the molester to the creek.
Surprised he didn't just want to go in naked with them.
I know. Well, maybe he just had a super tiny dick. Maybe that was it.
Maybe.
And maybe he had because those suits back in the day were kind of tight and they were full body, so you could probably stuff like a cucumber in there and it would, hold. So he was probably like, "Oh, you guys are going naked?" And he's like, "Fuck, they're gonna see that my dick is like the size of the kids' dicks."
Let me run to the market and I'll meet you there.
Well, not the market. He just went back in his room.
No, but get a cucumber.
Oh. He went, he made it was a life and death situation, and you think he stopped for fresh produce to make his dick look bigger?
If he, if you say all this about the,
you don't think he would have just grabbed something on hand?
I mean, if he had something to resemble that shape, maybe.
Well, he owns it's a tailor shop, so you could probably take like a big wad of cloth and stuff it in there. Yeah. In any sense, he definitely did something to trick people into thinking he had a bigger dick than he really did. But anyway, the arrival of Stanley Fisher sent a wave of anticipation through the crowd. The tailor was said to be the strongest man in town. Fisher quickly took command. He and Burlew climbed into a rowboat. So they go in the rowboat and they string chicken wire. You ever see like a chicken wire fence? Mm-hmm. They take chicken wire weighted with stones into the water down because they're going to try to prevent the body from getting washed out. All right. People are shouting and warning from the bank to watch out for a shark, and Fisher and this guy decide, they find the spot where his body's disappeared, and they decide to start diving in to look, because they think it's just a body recovery mission. Mm-hmm. It says the men plunged down towards the creek bottom, disappearing for several moments, then surfacing, gasping for air. The creek was so murky, Fisher and Burlew said they couldn't see anything. And they couldn't get there. They're having trouble. The bottom of the channel is too deep to reach. They're doing this for a half hour. There's a half hour of exhausting dives, and they're swimming from bank to bank, and they're kind of paused to discuss what to do next. And they figure, hey, look, we can't find it. This thing is fucking gone. All right. Eventually, the tide's gonna go out, and eventually it's gonna become shallow. We can walk out and track it down. Fisher says, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna make one more dive for the bottom." And upending his big body, plunged under the surface, but again he came up empty-handed. Ignoring pleas to call off the search, Fisher plunged once more towards the bottom. George Burlew was nearing the dock when he heard his friend break the surface and cry, "I've got it!" Shouts and cheers ringed along the shore. Fisher had found Lester Stillwell. George Burlew swam out to help his friend, but the sensation of the water churning furiously caused him to stop. What he saw in the center of the creek would stay with him the rest of his life. Stanley Fisher now called, "He's got me!" Fisher was caught in the jaws of a shark. I never saw the entire fish, he recalled, but from the tremendous upheaval of the huge tail that thrashed above the water, it had to be a big one. Unknown to observers then, however, the tremendous upheaval and suddenness and ferocity of the attack were a signature of a great white shark. So that's kind of interesting, because people say it was probably a bull shark because it was so far up the creek, but it's mimicking a great white attack. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the mystery surrounding this. Burlew was astonished at Fisher's courage. Stanley was a big man, and he fought back at the shark, striking it with his fists. Just imagine a man who's a big motherfucker, like Tars. He's a big motherfucker, you know. Our buddy's this huge, ripped state trooper. Imagine him in a creek, just pummeling, fucking fist fighting it out.
This is when the shark has, like, his
He's
body.
got him. He's clamped on him, and he's just swinging.
Oh, my God.
Hey, you know what? If you're gonna go out, you don't go out like a bitch. 3 or 4 times during the struggle, the shark pulled him under. He managed to get back to the surface. He seemed to be holding his own, but at best it was an uneven battle. The shark was at home in the water. Stanley wasn't. Fisher finally managed to get his head once again above water, but suddenly he was jerked under again, and the men in the boat saw the dirty white belly of the shark as he turned and went down. Then the water became crimson, yet the man in the red canoe is irritated. The crazy lady's been having sex with too many big dick motherfuckers. She's irritated the man in the red canoe.
Oh, no.
Ooh. They must have become super irritated too, because remember, we said everyone's got a big bush. Can you just imagine back then what sex was like? Wiry pubes rubbing against each other. Sex must have been such a stinky affair back then. Big pubes and red canoes.
That rhymes.
Like, instead of the 99 Luftballons song, 99 red balloons, 99 red canoes. 99 just gross red clits. Gross vaginas. Pink snapper. The water became crimson in a constantly widening area, and when Fisher came up, he was so exhausted he could barely call out. Men and women stood frozen in awe and fear on the banks, and George Burlew, too, found himself unable to move to help his friend. Instead, he turned and swam frantically for the dock. He said later it wasn't an action he regretted, because this guy's like, fuck, my friend's getting chewed up out. I don't know what the fuck, I can't help. And this guy's like, yep, going back to the dock. I'm out. Sorry. I don't know how I ever got to the shore, but I remember the awful fear that the shark was right behind me and had slated me for his next victim. I mean, this is really out of a fucking horror movie. Like, oh, the shark's going around fucking everybody up along the coast. The captain warns everyone. Mm-hmm. They're like, hey, shut the fuck up, old man. The shark's not coming up the creek, you fucking nut. Get out of here. Then the shark goes up the creek, offs a kid. Naked kids run into town screaming, and the buff popular guy in town goes out and tries to help them, and now he's getting fucked up by the shark. This is horror movie shit. Battling the big fish alone, Fisher incredibly had fought himself free of the shark. With astonishing purpose, he swam toward the bank. The shocked crowd saw that Fisher had one arm around Lester Stillwell, or what remained of the boy.
He's still holding the boy?
He's holding the kid's body, crawling out of the fucking creek while the shark is just fucking snapping at him.
God.
3 of Fisher's friends tried to rescue him, but their motorboat stalled in the creek, and the men frantically paddled with him towards their hands to reach Fisher. Other boatmen managed to row close to provide cover for him, slapping the water with oars to keep away the shark. Fisher had nearly reached the bank of the creek when witnesses heard him utter a terrible cry and saw him throw his arms in the air. Stillwell's body fell into the creek, and with another desperate shout, Fisher was dragged in after it, disappearing completely underwater.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine being on the bank of the creek and watching all of this shit happen?
No.
And you know what's fucked up? If like 20 people had rushed the water and helped, they might have been able to get these guys out. People were just stunned.
Yeah.
It's like watching a monster rip your neighbors apart in front of you. The shark, people screamed. The boatmen, they're rushing out there. Fisher was able to keep... This guy is fighting his ass off. As the rescuers reached him, the men in the boat saw that most of the flesh between his hip and the knee of the right leg had been taken off. Again, chicken bone off the grill. Imagine that. Completely bare with just bits of meat hanging off. That's a human leg. Delish. Having... Can you give us one more disgusted groan? You sound like a nun seeing a penis for the first time.
Get it away.
Having risked his life in a heroic rescue attempt and fought off the monster, Stanley Fisher deserved cheers and welcoming arms as he climbed out of the water.
Wait, what about his friend that was like, fuck this?
That guy just bolted.
Like, was he just shunned by all the people? Like,
I guess they were like, again, horror movie style. No one knows what the fuck is going on. So they kind of give him a pass. Like, I would have gotten out of there too. Like, everyone's like, yeah, man, I also would have left the water.
Yeah.
Wow. Instead, anguished cries and a crowd of... The Matawan Journal reports there was a crowd of 200 or 300 people, and the sight of Mr. Fisher being brought ashore was sickening, to state it mildly. Not until Stanley Fisher attempt to climb out did he realize what it... He doesn't know until he gets out of the water. Because remember, we were saying, like, your body, like, shuts down pain receptors and shit.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
He lifted his leg to examine it, said, "Oh, my God," and dropped back into the water again. Half the thigh was missing.
So he was just shocked so badly that he freaked out.
I guess that must have been when he realized it.
Oh my God.
A single bite from the knee to the hip was made by a huge pair of jaws. Several women fainted, and Burlew says, "I just missed fainting myself." Man, Burlew goes from being kind of brave to being kind of a pussy.
That's the guy that ran for the shore. Okay.
He's all talk when he's in the boat and they're looking for a body. Then all of a sudden the shark shows up and Fisher's fighting it for his fucking life. And Burlew's just like, yeah, fuck you, bro. I'm going to hang out on the shore with...
Yeah, you can't even help him out of the water.
He's like, fuck you, bro. I'm going to hang out on the shore with these chicks. And then he almost faints along with them. He's basically the gay best friend. Oh, get it away.
Ew, you're like, looks gross.
Ew.
Yuck.
Yeah. So they tied a tourniquet and they tried to get him to a doctor, but things did not work out for Mr. Fisher, and that was the last fatal attack. I guess shortly after that they say it nipped a kid about 30 minutes away, but he wound up living. Mm-hmm. Which at this point I think it's important. We've kind of beat that topic to death. What I want to do is explain my method before we go.
Oh, yes. I was supposed to remind you.
Of avoiding, a shark attack. So remember, and this is the fatal, kind of tough for the creek attacks. The one guy just kind of jumped in the water where he knew there was a shark. That's fucking stupid, but, you're trying to save a kid, so I get it. And Stillwell had no idea. He was just fucking, he was floating on his back in the creek. They didn't think a shark was coming. They ignored the crazy old man. Mm-hmm. But Van Zandt and Bruder, the two who were killed in the ocean, Beach Haven and Spring Lake. Remember how they were talking about how long distance swimming was like all the rage?
Yeah.
Bad idea. Not good. What I do, I have a technique, and I call it serving appetizers. Whenever you're in the ocean, it's very easy to remember, serve the appetizer. You find the people who are swimming farthest out from the shore, and you take your swim lined up with them, but in shallower water, based on the theory that the shark will go for them first. And you will notice the shark eating his appetizers, and you can get out of the water and avoid being the main course. serve the appetizer, avoid being the entree. You get in the ocean, you find a spot, serve the appetizer. You see the people out there, 30, 40 yards out. You stay 15, 20 yards out, still nice and deep in the water, getting some waves, it's up around your chest. Shark attack depth, but because other people are out farther, you serve the appetizer, avoid becoming the entree. So next time we go to the beach, what are you going to look for?
An appetizer.
You're going to find the appetizer, you go for a swim, you're going to go in short of them, just lined up, you enjoy the ocean, serve the appetizer, and then when you see the struggling man in the red canoe, that big inflamed clitoris out in the ocean, you just start fucking swimming. Because that's how you know that the appetizer is being devoured and the entree is next. And you don't want to be the entree.
No.
You don't want to be Stanley Fisher. Stillwell was the appetizer here.
I'm
That was more of an all-you-can-eat buffet scenario, though.
Oh, God.
It sounded you had a question.
No, I said
confused?
I'm a big fan of how you say appetizer.
Appetizer. I'm going to serve up that appetizer. So do you have any, before we wrap, any questions about... What's your prediction for tonight's race? If you got Phelps or the Shark?
I think Phelps.
Really?
Well, don't we know that, or...
No, we know he's racing it.
Oh, okay.
We don't know who's going to win. Well, that's why I'm asking you your prediction.
Oh, okay. Prediction. Then I'm gonna go with the Shark.
Yeah, I feel like there's no chance he can beat a fucking Shark. I mean, Michael Phelps is one of the greatest swimmers ever, but I don't believe that he can. Unless it's like a fucking. Unless it's like a punk bitch of a shark, like they got like a fucking retarded shark, or he's blind, doesn't know where the fuck he's going. He's gonna be bumping into the walls the whole time. But
yeah, I hope they got a good competitor.
yeah, I want it to be against like a tiger or a great white or something like that. I don't want it to be a fucking pussy shark.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Miss Kim Jong-poon. And don't forget, you can find all of Miss Poon's work on her website, www.northkoreancocksuckers.com. And since we're plugging shit on the internet, check out my social media pages as well. Facebook, it's facebook.com/The Savage Crew. On Twitter, you can find me at Mike Montone and at The Savage Crew. And on Instagram, it's Gary _Moyler, MOYLER, or you can just search The Savage Crew, and Patrick Bateman is our avatar. Would love to have your followership. Please check it out. Hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll catch you next time, you fucks.